Hey, Black here, and today I want to help anyone who is trying to decide if they should jump into Star Citizen now, whether or not that's a good idea and if it's even possible. So what do I mean by that? Well, stick around after I roll the thing to find out. So let's roll the thing and get this thing started. Alright, so first off, before I get started, I wanted to point out my referral code at the top right of the screen. For anyone who's creating an account and buying a starter package, I recommend using my code, or anyone's actually, as it nets you, the player, some in-game money to start with and also helps me with random gifts from the game based on how many referrals I get. Now on to the reason for the season, so to speak. For whatever reason, you as a player either have been on the fence about Star Citizen or have only just learned about it and are thinking about dipping a toe into the game. But here are the things you need to be aware of before spending any money on a starter package. The biggest one, I think, is going to be if your computer can actually handle playing the game. This game is beefy when it comes to what it needs to run the game in an enjoyable state. I have seen many new players who jump in thinking their computer can handle it and are quickly angry because they are experiencing all sorts of issues, whether that be really long load times to get into the game or loading into a zone after dying. They think that what they're experiencing are merely just the normal amount of bugs and that the game's not playable, when in fact, if your computer cannot handle it, you'll just experience things like elevators or walls not loading in, causing you to fall through empty space, or panels not being responsive. These are things you'll experience right off the bat as soon as you load into the game, and this would be the first sign that your poor computer simply cannot handle the game, and unless you're ready to spend some money on upgrades, you will not be able to play the game, or your experience will be so frustrating that you'll want to fire off tons of angry Reddit and Spectrum forum posts at anyone who will listen. So, what specs should you have to realistically play the game? Well, here's a quick graphic I made to visualize what you should have. You definitely want to be using Windows 10. Your processor should be an i7 2500K or better on the Intel side, and a FX 4100 or better on the AMD side. The bare minimum RAM has to be 16 gigabytes, and this means that you'll not be able to have a lot of other programs running in the background, and I would recommend even opening up a web browser on something else like a tablet while you're playing. 32 gigabyte is definitely more ideal. The graphics card you're going to want to have is a GTX 1060 or better on the Intel side and a RX 580 or better on the AMD side. I tried playing with a GTX 970 and it was very low frames and not really playable. The one thing you will need for sure though is to have the game installed on a SSD drive or better, because the standard older HDD drive simply cannot handle the stress. If your PC does not have these specs, at the very least, you can pretty much move on from playing the game until you can upgrade. Believe me, I'm saving you many headaches here. And also for you streamers out there, don't even think about trying to stream and play on the same machine, even with a higher end machine. It's just not worth it. So besides the specs, what do you need to know? Well, of course the game is very much in an alpha state, but many players still throw down their $45 and expect a game with features that are currently in-game to actually work all the time, and again, this is not reality. The game isn't in alpha just because it's waiting on features, but also to test the features released, and with each new quarterly update comes things that might change or even at times break some of the established features that are already in game, which again can be a major headache for someone who hopes they can just play and complete XYZ without any issues. Star Citizen is a game in development and has taken a very long time to even get to the state it's currently in. Those who are fans of the game get just as aggravated as others who come in and die for no apparent reason, like exiting your ship, or who see constant expected features pushed out further down the production schedule, and the company's constant changes on focus can also be frustrating. But what so many have discovered is that the journey and the sense of community with those who play the game regularly is something very unique, and when there are high moments to celebrate, it's fun, and when there's low moments, you can still seek solace because you see your favorite streamers or content makers or your org mates also feeling down about it, but yet people still keep coming back for more, and once you're in the community, it can be hard to just leave it. So if the technical aspects and the alpha issues have not scared you off yet, what else do you need to know about the game before deciding to take the plunge? Well, there's a steep learning curve involved. There are not many aspects that are automated. When you start, you wake up in a bed and must actively go to where you need to go and use transports to get there. You must physically call out your ship when you need them and go to them on their launch pads. There is none of that clicking on a ship and suddenly you are the ship stuff here. You must interact with the ship to find a port or ramp or elevator to use to enter the ship. But to me, that's the coolest part because the ships have full interiors and will at some point also have full components to interact with and repair as well. From inside, you of course must find the cockpit, enter the seat, fire up the ship, and even call the landing services to get permission to leave. While flying, you have complete control of your ship, so one wrong move can cause you to crash and burn, and then you wake up in a hospital and have to go travel to a hangar and bring your ship out and do it all over again. This sort of simulator style of play where you are responsible for everything is not everyone's cup of tea, so that is also something to consider. Now, while there are plenty of beginner's guides out there, including some of my own, you still need to get accustomed to how everything works and how to also navigate issues. The good news here is that there are plenty of people to help, both on the servers you're playing on and within the online community, and I highly recommend you find some streamers to watch and make friends within the verse itself. Now, the last topic I want to cover is ship ownership. I'm sure many of you might have heard that Star Citizen is just trying to sell ships and that they try to suck you dry. Well, in order to play the game and accomplish most everything there is in the game, you do not need to spend any money outside of your $45 starter ship. From that starter ship, you can start earning in-game money through missions, bounties, mining, and more as the game expands. Using this money, you can then purchase many of the same ships that cost real money, so there are many people I've seen who simply do this and wear it like a badge of honor. There are some who also want to contribute to the development, and so they buy some of the ships. You can also watch streamers to win free ships, as there are several who hold ship giveaways each week. I won't lie and say that there are no restrictions when it comes to purchasing ships with in-game currency. There are a few of the bigger ships that are only available with real money, especially for the time being until they make it into the game. Also, whenever a ship is brand new, it's also available for real money for 1 or 2 patch cycles before it gets added into the actual game, so 3 to 6 months is the normal wait time to fly something brand spanking new using in-game currency, which to me is a fair trade-off. I myself have not bought a bunch of ships, but I have slowly upgraded a couple of them over time by slowly tossing $10 to $20 towards a ship's cost to build it up to be the one I want. So besides the reasons I've listed here, are there any things holding you back from tossing in $45 to try the game out? If so, I want to hear about them. It would help me in making a follow-up guide to further help people make up their mind one way or the other. I hope that I've demonstrated here that this is not a surefire must-buy for everyone. Those who are skeptical have every right to be, and those who have put money down and lost patience with the development also have valid concerns, and I fault no one for their views on this game except those who just focus on only the negatives without actually giving the game a try or trying to see for themselves what is what. I'm definitely not a Cloud Imperium apologist and have levied my own criticisms at them, but overall I enjoy following along, discussing both good and bad steps development has taken, and being a part of something I consider to be special. I hope to see you all out in the verse, and please remember to have fun, be kind to one another, and stay positive citizens.